So, we are going to look at the fundamentals of health partnering and primarily how to use these materials because they're going to guide you through each and every session. You can literally read them word for word. If you can read, you can be a health partner. So, the fundamentals. There are just two fundamental things that I like to focus on. And I feel like if you practice these and you use these, you will be an amazing health partner. Just two things that are very simple. A good health partner is a good active listener and asks open-ended questions. Just those two things. Learn how to listen and learn how to ask a good question. And that's it. Simple? Yeah. It's that simple. So, active listening. When you're active listening, you're mirroring the person's emotions. So if they're laughing, you're laughing. If they're crying, maybe you're crying too, but you don't have to cry. Just don't be laughing while they're crying. You know what I mean? So just kind of be with them and mirror their emotions. Repeat their question. I've been doing coaching for 8 years now, and I still have a problem repeating people's questions. It's something I'm still working on. So when somebody asks you a question, it's good to repeat the question because you're making sure you're understanding the question and you don't give them an answer that's just a wonderful answer, but it didn't answer the question because you didn't understand their question. So it saves you from looking a little foolish and saves them from looking at you very kindly as you're not answering their question correctly. You know what I mean? So it's good to repeat their question. And if I don't repeat the question when I'm coaching somebody, just know that I should have repeated the question. I'll do my best. Give reassuring gestures while they're talking. It's just simple communication. When they're talking, just be like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand that. Without, getting in, just reassuring gestures. Not looking at your phone, not being distracted, just focusing on the person and having a good conversation. And don't butt in. Just don't do it. Because they can really be annoying to some people. You don't want to turn them off in any way. So they're talking, listen, eye contact, reassuring gestures, wait for them to finish what they're saying. Because you don't want them to not finish what they're saying because you butt in and then you miss an important piece of information. So just let them finish completely and then you can continue the conversation. And that's basically it for active listening. So focus on these things. You're welcome to take a picture of the screen. It's being recorded so you can watch it again later. But practice these on your spouse. Practice these on your dog. Practice these at the people at the grocery store. Practice this everywhere. And just really focus on that. Be attentive to how you listen to people. And then asking open-ended questions. There are questions that can't be answered with yes, no, or maybe. So, Pastor, did you have a good day today?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Closed-ended question.
Yes.
Hey, is that mine?
More details.
Is that mine?
That's ours.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you. So, that was a closed-ended question. So, Pastor, would you tell me about your day today?
Yes, it was amazing, actually. I went to the Evangelical Seminary at the church. There was a young guy there by the name of Josh. He gave an amazing seminar about health partnering.
This is where you butt in. Thank you, Pastor.
Keep going.
Do you see the difference in the question there? So, did you have a good day today? Yes. Pastor, would you tell me how your day was today? It really opens it up. Different. So, you can practice this again at the grocery store. Ask them open-ended questions. They're checking you out. American custom. How are you doing today? I'm good. That's how we are. Why don't you tell me about your day? How's your day going today? That's kind of a close-ended question too. But, tell me a little bit about how your day's going. And it's going to blow them away because no one's going to ask them that question. So it's just going to really, maybe they'll remember you next time. You can open up more conversations that way. I used to work at a grocery store in Spirit Lake, and part-time while I was Bible working, and there was a lady in the grocery store. She was looking for something, and I just sparked a conversation with her. Next thing I know, I was signing her up for health coaching. Just talking about things in the grocery store. So if you're in the grocery store, you see they got a bunch of healthy things, then just like, hey, wow, you're eating healthy. Tell me about that. And they'll start talking. And you say, well, I just started kind of this health coaching thing, and I don't know, would you be interested? And we can talk about health. And what's the worst thing they can say? No. It's really not that bad to get a no. But if you get a yes, you can really make an impact on their life. Can I move these over just a little bit? I want to give this side attention too. And if I can't walk over here, I kind of ignore you. All right, a little better. Thank you. And then open-ended questions usually lead into other questions. And this is where, if you practice and you focus on how you ask your questions, you can carry that person where you want them to go. So as a coach, you never tell people what to do. You never set a goal for them. Oh, well, you know what? I think you can walk 2 miles this week, 3 days a week. I think that's a good goal for you. You never, ever, 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 ever do that. It's always them setting the goal. But how you can get them to walk 2 miles a day, 3 days a week, or get them to feel like they can add more, is by asking questions that will lead them there. So if you, and you'll see it when I coach whoever's going to come up. No one came up to me. Someone's going to have to come up. You'll see how I'll use one question to get to another question to get to another question. So I can bring that person to that realization and them think it's all their idea and it's all their goal. Just by practicing these open-ended questions and seeing the issue that they may not see, and then with the questions I can help them see it, and then I can help them set a goal for that, but never tell them what to do. So it's kind of a skill that you learn through time, but some people will probably pick it up really fast. So it just takes a little practice. That's why practicing these questions on everyone you know, on your spouse, on your kids, on your dogs, and in the grocery store, anyone you meet, try just asking an open-ended question, and you'll just get in that rhythm, and it'll be second nature as you're going through this coaching. It's a lot of fun actually when you start doing it. Yes.
In sales, they used to tell us to ask the who, what, where, why questions. Who brought you here? Why are you here? What does this mean to you? Those type of questions you just can't answer with a no, yes.
Right. Yeah. He was saying use the who, what, when, where, how, and why, and those are basically open-ended questions. Yeah. Good point. Okay, so let's talk about the program a little bit. So the initial commitment is 12 sessions, a minimum of 12 sessions. The materials, the planner, which is what you'll sell to the person you're coaching, is made for 12 sessions. And there's a couple extras in there, so you could technically go 14 if they haven't missed any. I always say minimum. If someone's 350 pounds and they need to get to 200, it's not going to happen in 12 weeks, right? It's just a reality of it. And we don't want to be like, oh, sorry, 12 weeks are done. I hope you've learned enough to be by yourself now. No, we want to be with them until they reach that goal, because it's really neat to see someone drop all that weight, drop off their medications, which we never tell them to stop their medications or anything like that. That's for their doctor to do. But they're going to have to, when their blood pressure starts going down, they're still taking that medication, and their blood pressure is starting to get really low. They're going to have to go to their doctor and say, hey, my blood pressure is really low. They'll change the medication. But that's way out of their scope. So you're just there to encourage them, ask them questions, listen, and tell them when to write their goals down, but never what their goal is. So anyways, minimum of 12 sessions. You're going to do one law of health for the first 9 weeks. So you'll start with water, and then you'll start with activity, and then you'll start with nutrition, rest, sunlight, fresh air, temperance, trust in divine power, and then hygiene is at the end. That's the way we've done it. And once they've done those 9 laws of health, then the next 3 weeks are them trying to juggle all 9 of those laws of health, which it's a lot. It's a lot to do. Through the time of doing this, you'll notice that a lot of people, the first 4 laws of health require tons of change. Drinking water, being physically active, changing your diet, and changing the way you sleep. Those are really hard things to change. And we kind of tackle those things first. And some people do really good with that. Some people, it's a lot. So our goal is never to rush through this. If we can take those 12 weeks and turn it into 20, 30, 40, 50 weeks, you're doing a really good job. Because the more time you spend with someone, the more relationship you're building with that person, right? So let's say I'm coaching someone and they're doing really good on their water, they're really doing good on their exercise, they're doing good on their diet, but they're just like, when we start implementing changes, they're like, this is just becoming a lot for me. I tell them, it's okay to slow down as long as we don't stop. If you're running a race and you just completely stop and give up, you're never going to finish the race. But if you feel like you started off too fast, change your pace, slow down a little bit, and then we can continue running until you catch your breath and we can keep going. So same thing with them. If they can, then I would just say, so do you think you can still do the water? Yes. Do you think you can do the water and the activity? Yes. Can you do water, activity, nutrition? Yeah, I think that'll be enough. Then I'll say, what do you think about just waiting on the rest part? And then we'll just work on these 3 things so you get a grip on that, and then we can continue going. But I'm still with you. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so then that's what we'll do. So I've taken those 12 weeks, and it could take a month for them to really get a grip on those before they say, okay, I'm ready to start rest now. Great, I've turned 12 weeks into 16 weeks. That's great. Now we're doing rest, and if adding sunshine and fresh air is too much, then I can extend it more. So that allows us, again, to just build more relationship, keep going on our walks, getting to know each other, and this is just a huge, huge part of it. So it's never a rush. The Lord knows the timing, too. The Lord knows, everyone that we coach, He knows how standoffish they are, where they are spiritually, if they're ready for any spiritual things. Maybe they need a really deep relationship with someone before they'll open up about that. You don't know how church was with them growing up, anything like that. So the more of that relationship building you can have, just the better turnout it's going to be. And let's say you get to the trust and divine power part, but they're not interested. That's fine. They're not going to quit on you because you're already friends by the time you've gotten there. So we'll talk about what to do with that here in a little bit as well. So think of the program as a staircase. So your wellness vision is at the top of the staircase. That's kind of like the finish line. So to achieve your staircase, to get to the top of the staircase, you have to begin with the first step, right? You're not just going to jump 12 sessions, 12 steps. That was only, I guess, was that 2 or 3? That's 3 steps. There's no way I could do 12. It's impossible. That was hard enough. But we do it one step at a time. So the first step is water. Once we do the water, we'll do the activity. Once we do the activity, we'll do the nutrition. So each step is a session. So first session we do water, next session activity, then nutrition, then sleep, all the way up to the 12 weeks or however long the vision. The vision can be 12 weeks, the vision can be 3 years. Again, if the person needs to lose a lot of weight or they got a ton of health problems or they're just not going to, really be on it, then their vision can be longer. And that's fine because everyone's different. But we want to it's the same path for everyone. It's the same laws of health for everyone. That's how God created us. That's what fixes us, is these laws of health. So each week there's a new goal based on the 8 Laws of Health DVD. And this is part of the kit. We actually built our kit around this. It's a pretty amazing story. The doctor who made this, he just said the Lord just told him to make it. He didn't know why. And it's really weird if you watch it all the way through because he introduces himself at each law of health. So he would introduce himself 8 times in a 30-minute video. Just pretty weird. But I told him, Dr. Bivens, God had you make that for me. Thank you for listening to him, because this whole kit was built around that. So essentially it's Dr. Bivens teaching about each law of health. We'll watch 2 of the videos today in our coaching session. And they're fantastically done. They're very well done. There's an introduction that talks about the 8 laws of health. Then he breaks them down. So each session you'll play a video. So you don't have to know a lot about health. You don't have to know a lot about the 8 laws of health. You will once you watch these videos 30 times over. You'll memorize them. I'll be giving talks and I'm just quoting Dr. Bivens as I'm going because it's great information. So you'll just put this in your DVD player or in your laptop, or you can save it to your laptop. They're on YouTube as well. And you go in there and you play the video. And it does all the teaching for you. It's pretty easy. I'm telling you, if you can read, you can do it. So the second week, we do activity. This is where we start walking with them. Again, the most important thing about this program is walking with them. You walk with them as much as they can, or as much as you can. So I've coached people that are way more athletic than I am. I'm not going to go run a marathon with you every week because I don't like running long distance, so it's not going to happen. But you'll have people that can only walk from here to the door, or from here to just a few pews down. That's fine, because you do that with them, and then throughout the week they'll do that 2 or 3 times. The next week you'll go a couple pews more, and the next week you go a couple pews more. There was a lady, the lady that took 3 years. She lived in a very small apartment complex. There were maybe 6 apartments in one building. And she could only walk, she was the second from the last. She could come out her door and walk around to the outside and to the back side, just a little past the building. Not far at all. Maybe 300 feet, 400 feet. And she would have to stop. We'd take a break, and then she would come back around. And in just a couple months, she was walking 1.5 miles and a lot of that uphill. Amazing. And it's so amazing when you're working with someone that's like that and you see that progress that they're making. It's great. Then session 3, we start nutrition. What I'll do is I'll send them some plant-based recipes the day before or just that week before, and they can look them over, figure out what they want to cook. Then we'll go to the grocery store together. So this session is going to take a little longer. It'll take a few hours, so just kind of plan it when you can. But what you'll do is you'll take them to the grocery store and they'll buy the ingredients for that dish. You'll show them how to read food labels. You'll show them how to pick good produce. You'll kind of do just a grocery tour thing and maybe show them some things that you like to eat. And these are some meat substitutes that I like, and just kind of show them around. And then we'll go back to the house and we'll cook the meal in their home. with their equipment, and we'll have dinner together. So you're educating them, you're having fun in the kitchen, you're showing them that they can cook healthy food in their kitchen, and you're sitting down for a meal. What's more bonding than sitting down for a meal together, right? So you probably won't walk that week, but that's okay, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing that. And then sleep. What we've added in there for sleep is they write down 5 things they're thankful for each night. So it's really good for helping with depression, kind of helping your thinking to think positively, and helps us sleep better as well. So your first health partnering session. Your first session will take about an hour to an hour and a half when you're out in the real world. When you're practicing today, it's always a lot faster. Usually it takes like 35 minutes for people to get to the first one. If it takes you longer, that's okay. But usually it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's always kind of a little awkward. You're in someone's stranger's house or something like that. It's totally normal. You're getting to know each other. Things just kind of go slower. Or if you get someone that really likes to talk a lot, make sure you're out of there in those 2 hours, okay? So you got to kind of keep them on track. Can we pass out these printed? Can we pass these printed ones out? If we can get a couple people to help pass these out, that would be great. So what we've done is we printed out the first session for everyone. So you'll get a planner and you'll get a health partner's guide. And we'll be using this.
You want to both pass out the guide and the...
Yeah, we'll pass them both out. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you want to help me?
You want to give them to people?
I'll take one. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanan.
I got the special one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So while they're passing that out, we'll kind of look at this here. So in the Health Partners Guide, it's pretty much the teacher's edition. So it's a hardcover. This is what you take in with you when you go coaching. This will guide you through each session. In this book is the book that the person you are coaching has. So what we did, we took this book, put it in here, and gave you step-by-step instructions for each part of the book. So you can kind of see this page is within the book. This is page 8 of the Wellness Planner. And this is where they'll write their wellness vision. This is where they'll write their obstacles. And this is where they write their strategies to overcome the obstacles. If you have your wellness planner, are they getting it?
They're making more copies.
Okay. It's page 8 in the planner. Or if you look at page 24. Yeah. So if you look at page 24 in there, you'll be on the same, if it's too small for you to read here. And so for the wellness vision area, it's in blue. So the instructions for the wellness vision area are in blue, right next to it. The obstacles section is in green. So the instructions for the obstacles is in green. The instructions are in orange here for the strategies to overcome the obstacles, and the instructions are right next to it in orange as well. Is that orange? Yellow? I'm colorblind, so I always guess on this one. I always forget what it is. So you're always there. It's got questions you can ask. So when you see this guy here in red, it's read me. So you want to read that word for word until you're familiar with the program, and you can just kind of breeze through on your own. This is just to guide you step by step so you don't feel lost at all. You can literally just read it until you're comfortable with it. It's got, when you see him and he's not in red, it's just, hey, you need to pay attention. There's something here. So what's here? Sample questions. So you can pick from these questions. Basically what I did was, as I was coaching people, I noticed the questions I would ask all the time that would get the results I needed, and I wrote those down, and that's what's in the book. So these questions are pretty tried and true. So then we get here. Now let's discover your obstacles. What events, circumstances, or habits standing in the way are reaching your wellness, standing in the way of reaching your wellness vision. And so there's basically the question there, and then they'll talk about it. Pretty simple? Yeah. Once you practice it, you'll see how simple it is. That's just showing the different. Okay. So setting up the wellness vision. This is a really important part because this is how everything else is going to play out. Here you're painting a picture of what the top of that staircase is going to look like. So once I reach the top, I'm at the weight I want to be, I've dropped the medications I want to drop, my blood pressure is where I want it to be, my diabetes is gone or under really good control, whatever other goals they have. So the wellness vision is who they want to be and what they want to be doing. So you'll see a lot of people, I want the same waist size I had in high school. That's a goal. Okay, so if they're at a 42, they want to be a 32. That's what it is. Okay. Wellness vision can be any length of time depending on their vision. If they're at a 42 waist and they want to be a 40 waist, it's going to be a lot shorter time than getting down to the 32. But we want the finish line. So if they want to eventually get to their 32, then that's going to be the vision. A goal for like a month would be, I want to get down to a 40. Do you see the difference? So the wellness vision is the finish line, and you're going to make smaller goals to get there. So maybe a monthly goal would be like a 40, and then the next month would be a 38, and then the next month would be a 36, and then so forth, so on and so forth. And how are you going to figure out their wellness vision? Asking open-ended questions and active listening. This is the key to each step. Listen to what they're saying, ask questions based on that, or ask questions and then listen to what their responses are, and then they'll say, I want to get down to, size 32. Oh, is that your goal? Yeah, that's my goal. Okay, that's your goal. Why don't you write that down? Just that simple. So they said it, I want to get down to a 32. You're just saying, oh, that's a goal. And we'll talk about goals here, what they need to be. So some sample questions. How does ideal wellness look like for you personally? What are some things you would like to be doing regularly that are difficult for you to do now? How would you like to see yourself at the end of the 12-week program? What are some things you want to be doing when you have achieved your ideal wellness? So I want to be able to run. I want to be able to run with my grandkids. I want to be able to walk my dog and not get tired. Whatever those goals are, that's part of their vision. And they can be as big, but they have to be realistic as they can. Okay. So when you're setting up the wellness vision, again, it's who they want to be, what they want to be doing, any length of time depending on their vision. You do it by active listening and asking open questions. And then you never let them say or write down for their goal, I will, I'll try, I'd like to, when I can. It's always I will. They always have to write, I will have a size 40 or size 32 waist. I will lose 50 pounds. I will be diabetes free. I will be off my blood pressure medication. Because words are powerful. So if you're just like, oh yeah, I like to do that when I get to it, you're never really going to get to it. But if they write down I will, it really makes a huge difference. So this is kind of what it would look like in the book. I'll weigh 150 pounds and be diabetes free. I'll be able to play with my grandchildren without getting tired so quickly. Perfect wellness vision. So your goals need to be SMART. So SMART is an acronym for, let's see if I can remember this, specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and time sensitive. So the vision necessarily doesn't, we don't have to put a time on it. It's just kind of a big picture, but your weekly goals you will. So this is measurable, 150 pounds, diabetes free, that'd be, an A1C check. Is it relative to them? Yes, because they're trying to lose weight. They want to be diabetes free. Is it attainable? Yes. Is it specific? Yes. Is it time sensitive? No, but it doesn't have to be for the wellness vision. Okay, let's identify people's obstacles. So the main obstacles you'll see is the lack of motivation. People will be honest, I'm lazy. Okay, your obstacle is you're lazy. Let's write that down. We're going to figure out how to beat your laziness, right? And I love it when people are honest like that. So why aren't you doing this? I'm lazy. Yes. At least you're honest, right? Medical conditions. So if someone's knees are just completely shot, walking is going to be really hard for them. So maybe they need to do some water aerobics or some bicycle exercises or some upper body exercises just to get them moving. Or maybe they can walk but not very far. Those are real limiting, and laziness. And how are you going to figure these out? Asking open-ended questions and active listening. This is the key. So by asking those open-ended questions, they're going to start talking. And they're going to start opening up. You're going to learn more about somebody in an hour and a half than you know about most of your friends. Because you're getting down, you're going to find out if they sneak to the fridge in midnight, if they overeat, and they're going to be honest about it, if they're snacking, whatever it is, if they're spending all their time in front of the TV, you're going to find out all these things. So identifying obstacles, here's an example. I do not prioritize myself, and I'm busy taking care of other people. You'll find that a lot, especially with women, because they're usually more of the caretaking role. And I make excuses, I'm lazy. Those are good, honest obstacles. So how do we overcome the obstacles? You want to explore their strengths. So what are you good at? What do you think you do really good at? And then try and make a connection there. And if it takes a while for you to think about the next question, that's totally fine, because you're thinking. Just let them know, I'm trying to think of how we can connect that. And you're going to use active listening and open-ended questions. You really want to get to the root of the problem. I'm lazy is okay, but why are you lazy? Are you depressed? You're not there to play a psychotherapist or anything, but are you depressed? So yeah, if you're depressed, well, let's add that to your vision. I won't be depressed anymore. You can always go back and add. But you really want to, if you feel like the answer is superficial, ask a question that's going to go a little deeper. Don't take a plunge instantly, but just ask a question that's going to dig a little bit more, just scraping some more dirt off the treasure box so you get down to the root. And then if you attack the root of the problem, the symptoms will go away, which is the laziness. You will learn, like I said, you'll learn a lot about people going through these obstacles, because this is like the nitty-gritty of why they're not healthy, why they're not achieving their goals. Some examples: I'll begin to prioritize myself. I'll learn to say no. I will stop making excuses and being lazy because I realize they're only making me miss out on things that are truly important to me. So by that time you've explored, what these obstacles are keeping them from doing, which is going to help with the motivators. So as you're discovering these obstacles, they're going to, or even in their vision, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. That's a motivator. So obviously family is a motivator for them. Or they want to walk their dog farther. That's a motivator. Their dogs are their motivator. So motivators are things that people value, whether it's God, their children, their spouse, their pets, whatever it is. Motivators help people strengthen their commitment to the task at hand. So let's say you're in 4 weeks and they're really struggling on their exercise. Like, why, let's look back at your vision. Why did you want to, or let's look at your motivators. Why did you want to do this? So you're struggling, you're kind of on the verge of giving up. Let's look at your motivators again. Are your grandchildren still important to you? Is your spouse still important to you? You still want to do that? Yeah. Okay, so let's figure out how we can adjust what you're doing so we can continue to do it at a slower pace. So you can always come back to those motivators to strengthen their commitment and get them back on track. So how are you going to find their motivators? Open-ended questions, right? And active listening. So motivators: my family, not being sick anymore, having more energy, living long enough to see my great-grandchildren. That's something I want to do. So support system. You might be their only support system. A lot of people have tried diets after diets after diets only to be not finish them, only to have to tell their family, yeah, I'm not dieting anymore. And they're tired of doing that. And they might just keep this a secret. And you might be the only person that knows, and that's fine. It's actually good because they're going to trust you more because you're the only person they can talk to about this, so they're going to talk to you more about it. This is a really, really good time. This is where I gauge where people are spiritually, kind of in a way. I'll ask them, do you belong to a gym or to a church? Who can support you? If they say yes, I'll say, is it a gym or a church? And they say they belong to a church. Then I may or may decide to pray with them at the end. I just let the Holy Spirit lead. Or I may not want to bring it up because if they ask what church I go to, it might be a turnoff for them. So sometimes I just don't say anything. And then later on, it'll eventually come up. So the support system part is really good. Always ask that. If you belong to a gym or a church, it's very nonchalant, casually, and you'll see where they, if you're always looking for how you can get to a spiritual conversation and start putting seeds in. So if they don't go to church, then you definitely want to tread lightly and take time building that relationship before you bring those things up. If they're just out and about flamboyant Christians, great, go ahead, start praying. But just know, if they ask you what church you go to, then it might be a turnoff. Support system: my husband, my daughter, you, any organization or clubs, no, or whatever they put down there. Okay, so your weekly sessions. Each session has its own section in the planner. Say that fast 3 times. So let's see, do I have a picture here? Yeah. So here's the water session in the Health Partners Guide. So this is the book in the wellness planner, except theirs isn't color coded. But you've got a water, so you'll play the video. It'll talk about water, and essentially what I did was I took some tidbits from the video or other research that I've done, and just put it here. So you'll watch the video on water. Wow, water's amazing. We should drink more. And then you'll just take turns reading this little thing. So review the key points from the video. You should take turns reading them. So hey, I'll read this little paragraph, and then you want to read this side, or read that one and I'll read the next one, however you want to do it. And so you'll just read around those facts, kind of reinstill what you just highlights from the video. And then you're always going to ask at least 2 questions in each session. And the questions are designed to ask them, to help them think about their current condition. How is not drinking enough water affecting your current health? And how will drinking more water benefit your health? So what's your current condition, and where's drinking water going to take you? So are your current water drinking habits, how are your current water drinking habits affecting your health? How will drinking more water affect your current health? And so, I'm cloudy-headed, my blood pressure's high, I don't have energy, I'm fatigued. And then how will drinking water affect it? I'll think better, my blood pressure will be better, I'll have more energy, which will help me to play with my grandkids, whatever their goal is. And then just little tips to succeed each session. When you get to the temperance and the prayer one, I think there's more questions, but for the most part, it's just 2 questions. That's just showing the instructions there. So, setting a weekly goal. So we talked about SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and time sensitive. So I will drink 50 ounces of water each day. So is drinking water relative to their health, improving their health? Yes. Is it specific? I will drink 50 ounces of water each day. That's pretty specific. We did relative. Attainable, can they do it? If they're drinking 0 water, drinking 50 might be too much. But if they're drinking 45 or 40 ounces, drinking 50, it's reasonable. I had one guy, every time you get a guy, it can be pretty interesting because, they're macho, right? So this guy was drinking like no water. He lived on Mountain Dew. He's like, I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. So from 0 literally to 128 ounces. He was going to do that in a week. I was like, you're not drinking any water, that might be too much. Oh no, I can do it. Like 3, 4, 5 times I hinted like, you really shouldn't do this. And no, that was his goal. I can't make a goal for him, so all is fair. So he writes it down. Next week, how'd you do? I didn't drink any water. And he was like 2-3 sessions and he was done. Because he wouldn't make realistic goals. So it was discouraging and he quit. So it's your job to kind of gauge and be like, and always ask. And even if it's a good goal, I ask, do you think you can do that? Is it going to be? Do you think you can do that? And is it going to be challenging enough for you? If the goal is not challenging and they meet it, there's no win. But if the goal is too hard and they don't, then they lose. So you got to find that. You got to find that balance. I always just ask them again. Is it time sensitive? Yes, each day. So it's just, I'll drink 50 ounces of water. Is that a day, a week, in your lifetime? What is that going to be? So we want to make sure it's time sensitive. And then I'll buy a bottle of water today and use it. So that's all SMART there as well. And then they'll log their progress. So each week, each day, they'll log how many ounces. We give examples of how they can do it. If they have a special cup that they always drink out of, have them measure that cup so we know how many ounces, because it's based on your body weight. And then they can just write how many cups they drank, however they want to log it. Yeah? I think
Hello. He wants us to talk about this.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just have a little comment about the water, because sometimes people spend a lot of money on buying sodas and juices, and I think if you can add that to then say how much do you spend per week on buying sodas and juices, and now you are drinking water, then you will have some additional money. You know, some people say that, oh, I cannot buy good food because I don't have money.
Right.
But by saving in sodas, because they are expensive, $5-10 just in sodas, if you save that, then later on you will be able to use the money for good salads and fruits.
Right. That's good. I use that when I do like cigarettes and alcohol, but I never thought about it for soda, so thank you. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, snacks, candies. I mean, if you go to the gas station and only get gas, then you're doing good. If you go in the gas station and you start buying other things, your money's going to start disappearing really, really fast. Can we save our questions just to the end? Is that okay? Or is it like really pressing?
Well, I just
Okay, just use the mic.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just been bugging me this whole time, and I said I want to ask a question, but I just wanted to know, the wellness goals, I'm still confused about what you're saying about long-term and short-term goals. The 12-week goal is what they're looking for and nothing else? Is that what we're looking for? Because you're talking about weekly goals and you're talking about goals beyond 12 weeks, and I'm just a little confused.
Okay. So essentially what we're going to figure out in the first session is their vision. That's the finish line. So that's when they've achieved their vision, they are what they consider a perfect picture of health. So they're diabetes free, they lost all their weight, they're like exactly what they wanted to be. To achieve that, that's like the top of the staircase, we have to go each step, okay? Each weekly goal is a step on that staircase.
What do we write down for them?
You don't write anything down for them. They write down. It depends on where they are. So let's say water. Let's go back. No, this is great. I want you to understand it, because it's so easy you can complicate it sometimes, and I can complicate it sometimes. Okay, so question I always ask, and it's in the book: how much water are you drinking now? And if they say 40 ounces of water a day, I always ask, how much would you like to add to that? And if they say, let's just say this person said 10 ounces. Okay, I think you need 10 ounces, a cup and a quarter. That's good, you can do that. And then, I won't even say you can do that, I'll just say, is that your goal? I'll say, yeah. And so they'll write that down. So the goal varies, but this goal is for 1 week. So they're going to try by the end of that week to be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. Okay? And then the next week, when you start activity, you're always going to revisit the previous goals. So when you start activity, you're going to set your first activity goal, but then you're going to review how they did on their water, and then you're going to set a new water goal. So let's say they got 50 ounces that week. Okay, and this week they say, hey, I'm going to add another 10 ounces. So their goal for that week is going to be 60 ounces of water.
So the wellness vision is the same throughout the whole thing?
Yeah. Because their goal is to get to the top of that staircase. That's the top of the staircase. So everything else is building up to that. And by improving each week on your weekly goals, you will eventually reach your wellness vision. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you for your question.
I will keep my question for later.
Okay, thank you. We're almost wrapped up here. So this is kind of, I call it the cookie cutter. Everybody wants the cookie cutter. It's the moment everyone's been waiting for. How do we transition from health coaching or wellness or health partnering to Bible studies, right? The answer is there is no cookie cutter. Everyone's different. If I grew up in a family where my parents were Christian, but I was abused, it's going to take a lot longer compared to someone that was not, or someone that's never heard of Christ, or everyone's different. We have to understand that. This is why some people, before your 12 weeks are done, you're in Bible studies, and some people it takes years. So you really have to be connected with the Holy Spirit and listen to the Holy Spirit and pray for him to help you each and every session. And most importantly, pray for you not to blow it, because we're human and we're really good at blowing it. So I always tread on the side of caution. I would rather extend my time with them and tread very lightly than go in there thinking, I'm going to get these people to get a Bible study. I've been with them for a year, and I'm tired of coming over here, and they're not getting all their goals, and I'm just going to try and get them because they need Jesus to help them. Well, it may work. It may be what you need, but it may be a disaster. So there's some people that I have approached that I'm like kind of firm and go with it, and it works out great. Other people, you've got to walk on ice because they're very broken and they're very hurt, and just being sick is very demoralizing and just very difficult on your mental state. So you got to be very careful. And this is just one thing I like to really push and get people to understand, that health partnering is not a bait and switch tactic that we're trying to do here. Yes, we want to get people in the Bible studies, but Jesus would heal people even if he knew they were going to hang him on the cross. And that's how we have to be. Ellen White says somewhere, like, people that, I'm paraphrasing and butchering, but I'm just trying to get the best out of it. Essentially, if people are not going to get to heaven, we got to give them the best life they're going to have here on earth. It doesn't mean we, give them money to go get alcohol and things like that, but we try to make them as healthy and comfortable as possible so they don't suffer as much here because they're going to be eternally separated from God. So does that mean we just heal people and not bring them to Christ? No, because you're doing a terrible disservice of that as well. So we got to heal people no matter what, but if we can get them in, by all means, let's get them in. And it's just going to take that connection with the Holy Spirit. So, yes, we want to get them there. Yes, that's our intention. Every time you meet with them, you need to be on your A game, looking for hints, trying to drop little hints, drop little seeds, see how they pick up on that. Health partnering brings about a spiritual transformation. When you're coaching people, the lady that was 16 cups of coffee, her house was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. She was like in her late 60s, early 70s. She had 3 chihuahuas that would just eliminate all over the floor. She had parrots and birds all in her house. She lived in a tiny house. It was like maybe 500 square feet. And big bird cages everywhere. She wasn't clean about her birds. Birds stink if you don't take care of them. Plus the dogs. She smoked in her house and didn't open the windows. You could literally, when we started cleaning up her house, when you take a picture off the wall, it was like you noticed that her house wasn't painted yellow. It was just all the tar on the wall, and you could still see where the picture frames were. It was nasty. You'd go in there for 12 seconds, and you'd come out, and your clothes would stink of bird, dog urine and feces, and cigarettes. It was gross. Like anytime I'd come back home, my wife would be like, "You need to go shower right now. Just go straight to the shower." And she would like have my clothes ready for me in the shower because she knew I was over there. Like it was really bad. But we never said anything. The guy that would come with me, he would fall asleep every time because there was like no oxygen in that house. But you're working with them and you're walking with them, and their frontal lobe begins to clear. You start to see this transformation I'm talking about. And next thing you know, she wants to start cleaning her house out. Next thing you know, she's finding people to give her birds away to. Next thing you know, the dogs are like outside more because she wants the house cleaner. Next thing you know, we're cleaning out her sheds. I never told her anything. Never told her house stank. Never told her the birds stank. Nothing like that. Her windows started opening. It was just the Holy Spirit, that transformation. Because guess what? Now that her mind's not as clear, maybe her nose is working better and she can smell it. Maybe she sees how gross the birds are and that she can't really take care of them all and it's all too much for her, because she's getting that discernment, that decision making, that cognitive functions coming back. And people, you'll see it, people with dirty houses, just wait, stick through it, they'll start cleaning their houses. If they're making their goals, just wait. Their houses are going to start cleaning up. It happens every single time. And I always sit back and I'm like, I know what's happening to you. The Holy Spirit's working in your life, even though you don't like him and you talk bad about him, but he's working. It's great. It was amazing. She hated God. Her husband had died of cancer. He was the good one in the relationship. She was the bad one. She thought it should have been her, so she blamed God for his death. And took a long time, but she showed up. She told me, "Oh, I want to go to church because she was devout Catholic. It's Easter. The last time I went to church was a Catholic church. That's where my husband's funeral was. I don't want to go there. Can I come to your church?" And I was like, "No, I don't." Yeah, of course. I'm like, "Yeah, come on over." So she came, and it was amazing. A song that we sang, she remembered it from Germany when she was a kid. It was translated, and she started singing it in German. She had a wonderful time. Then she would show up to potlucks here and then, and eventually she was baptized. I mean, it was her testimony is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. So it brings about spiritual transformation. It brings about a mental transformation, emotional, physical. It's everything. It helps people become healthier, and it prepares the mind to appreciate truth as the frontal lobe clears. Imagine trying to give her Bible studies with 16 cups of coffee, smoking, all the birds, the pets. You know, it's just... Yes, God can work a miracle, but he's also giving us these laws of health to do the work of restoration. So we got to remember that. It develops a relationship of trust that makes people more comfortable opening up and talking about spiritual things. So that's the whole thing, just building that relationship so you can actually talk about these things and them not go ghost on you in a couple weeks. As they begin to feel better, they'll get excited about learning what else you have to share. On your walks, 99% of the time, before you get to trust and divine power, you will already have had a spiritual conversation on your walks. It just happens, and it's natural, and it's wonderful. We were doing an evangelistic series in Oak Harbor, and we started advertising to the people that were coming free health coaching. And this was before we had the kit, so it wasn't, we charged them $30 for the planner. That's the only charge. I'll tell you why later. But we were offering the free health coaching, and people signed up, and it was amazing. As they're coming to the meetings, and you're in their home on the second weekend. You're in their home doing health coaching, which you wouldn't do if you were offering Bible studies at Evangelistic Series. And they hear the message on hell, and then that next day you're coaching them. And so guess what? It's not like you're doing a visit during your evangelistic series where you sit down at the table and you're like, "So what did you think about the message last night?" It's very not as comfortable as it could be. But when you're out and about on your walk, be like, "Hey, what did you think about the message last night?" You're like not staring at them in the face. You're just walking. You're talking. It's just very it's really nice. It really makes it easy. Or on the Sabbath, and you start talking about that. So it opens up that talking into spiritual things. They want to know what else you have to share. And then lastly, here they've had an experience just as the people Jesus healed did, and they will tell the world about it. And same thing, I mean, you'll pick up more people to coach as they're making their goals. They're going to start telling their friends, or their friends are going to notice, hey, you've lost weight. Yeah, I've lost 20 pounds. I've had this coach. Now they're happy to talk about it. Oh, well, let me get their number. I want to, it's just going to spread like that. So where's the cookie cutter? Everyone's different. Each person has a different personality and character, and they are in different place spiritually. So the length of time really varies, so just stick with them. That's the key. So red light, yellow light, green light, and we'll end on this. Usually I'll drop my seeds when I'm walking, because to me it's less confrontational, it's nice. So let's say you drop a seed, you just make a spiritual comment. And spiritual comments have their way of just standing out. They really do. But not overtly, to turn people off. You're just throwing a line out there, see if they nibble. And if they're like, not having it, red light. What do you do at a red light? You step on the gas as fast as you can, right? You stop. And this red light isn't like a red light you stop at. That red light can last weeks, months, years. When there's a red light, you stop at the red light and you stay there and you wait. Because if you go through that light, you can blow it. You can get a ticket. If you see that they kind of respond, but they're kind of apprehensive and not really comfortable, I'll call that a yellow light. Where they're not like, I don't want to talk about anything like that, like, oh, God's not for me or anything like that. But if they're just like, they just kind of play along with it almost, I'll call that a yellow light. Yellow lights proceed with caution, right? So maybe I'll wait 2, 3, 4 sessions before I drop another spiritual comment and see how they did then. And just kind of know I have a little bit of leeway, but just don't overdo it. You get what I'm saying? And then green light. So if they just kind of pick up on it and a spiritual conversation starts, go through that spiritual conversation, but just don't speed. Take it easy. Go slow. Enjoy the moment. Because if you rush in and start talking about, I know people that they just love to give the whole message, like the whole message, and like might not ever see them again, so I'm just going to tell them everything, and then they see them again the next week because you have an appointment with them. Just like I said, always just err on the side of caution. Yes, Jesus is coming soon, but each person is different, and you just got to kind of really be in tune with the Holy Spirit, and He'll guide you. Okay. Let's take a break. All right. Thank you, everyone. So we are going to get right to it. So if I was going to my first session, I would take with me 2 planners, because, what's your name?
Rich.
Joshua. If Rich had a wife that wanted to join in, I don't want to just bring one, because if she wants to join, now I have 2 and they can both start together. Okay? So it's always good to have 2 planners with you whenever you go. I would bring the DVD, unless I have it saved on a device. It's nice to not have to watch it on the phone because it's kind of small and not loud enough. So if you have a computer, the computer I used to have, the speaker wasn't very loud, so I had a little Bluetooth speaker that would connect to it and just make it nice and loud so people can hear. Or, hey, can we throw this in on your DVD player? We're going to watch a video each time. People are more than happy to do it. Always have a backup in case they don't have a DVD player. Always have a backup. So in the handbook, it's not in the printout that you have, but, or maybe it is. There's a pre-session checklist that tells you everything you need to bring for every session, and then before each session, there's a checklist that tells you everything you need to bring for that session. So you should never forget anything. Always read the lesson beforehand. It tells you everything you need to bring, everything you need to do. You'll know exactly what you're going to say beforehand, and it's just going to help. Before you start coaching people, not today, but when you start, make sure you read through the first portion of this book. Make sure you read through the Health Partners Handbook. It goes a little more in depth of what we did today. I kind of scaled things back because of time. But it's going to have like coaching do's and don'ts, which are really valuable, things to do, things not to do in a session. And it's basically everything you heard today in here as well. All the pictures of the brain scans and everything. This you wouldn't want to bring with you to a session. That's just for you to read beforehand, and then read the front part of this book, and always read your session before. Today, don't worry about doing that. Just kind of go through it. You'll see how easy it is, but it's just nice to be prepared when you're doing the real thing. And then you'll bring 2 of these. So if you have the printout of the Health Partners Guide, it's the one that has the color-coded areas. Or if you got a black and white one, the printer here doesn't print in color. So you might just have, it'll look like that, but black and white. So you are welcome to follow along with us. And we are going to start on page, what's your first page there? 19 or 20?
I don't have 19. That page missing.
I go 18 to 21.
Yeah, I'm missing 19 and 20. See? 8C, 17, 18, 21.
21.
You have 20 in here?
No,
Oh, you're done.
we have this one. I think that one.
Let me see what you have here. Okay, we'll start on your page 22.
Okay.
And so if you want to have it open like this, you'll see that the page on the right is what the person you're coaching would be looking at. That's the planner. So you'll see like a page 5 in the middle, and then you'll see a page 23 on the right. That page 5 is page 5 in their book. And then what's on the left are the instructions for that page. Okay. So you can literally, I'm just going to read through it like you would read through it on your first session, so you can just see how it all flows. Okay? So you can follow along there. I'm sorry. Is anyone missing?
I am.
Okay.
Are you missing the guide? You need the guide? The 1, 2, 3. Does everybody have the one that's white
Oh.
on the bottom?
There should have been, Nick, there should have been a box that they brought in. It's about this big. It has some of the guides in it. It's got like 3 guides in it. We can pass those out for people to use too. I don't know where that box made it to. It's somewhere in here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started, and then when they come in, just, if I don't notice, just let me know, and then I'll let you know where we're at in the book.
23.
23. Okay, I see what it is. I didn't update the pages on that one, so we're in the same spot.
Okay.
Actually, you have a page 21 there? You have page 21? You do? Okay. Well, some do, some don't. We'll start on page 21, and it's... Okay. Okay. We'll start there. All right. So I would read this before I get there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it, pretend I'm not here yet, and I'm at home reading this. So I got my checklist, so review pre-session checklist on page 15. That's the basic one for each guide. Review any information you have on your new friend. You'll notice I call people friends. I don't call them contacts. I want to get away from that because that's very impersonal. We're friends. Jesus called Judas a friend and he knew he was going to trade him in, right? So we should always, I feel like we should just address people as friends. Strangers we're getting to know and things like that. So, versus contacts. Review session 1 completely, so go through the whole thing. Check all electronics, make sure that they're charged and working, whatever you got to bring in to play the video. Pray before you go to the appointment. Videos to play is going to be the introduction and the water video. And then bring a BPA-free bottle of water. You can or cannot. If you can afford it, great. If not, don't feel bad about it. But it's just a nice gesture for them. Upon arrival, make sure that you and your companion, so we always go 2 by 2, know their name before you come to the door. So I want to know Rich's name before I come to the door. Come to the door with a smile. Once they open the door, introduce yourself again, give them a warm greeting, and ask them how they're doing. Be pet friendly. If they have a friendly dog or a sweet kitty, be sure to be friendly with them as well. This will often help with the awkwardness that comes with being in a stranger's home and for them having a stranger in their home. It's just kind of little tips and tricks there. Okay. So introduction and instructions. So obviously I would have read this before, so I kind of know what to do. Get to know them a little, find out how long they've lived in the area and where they lived before. Do they have any children or grandchildren? What do they do for work? If they're retired, what was their career? If you have any connections with their answers, build on them. Okay? So I'm going to start. So Rich, tell me about yourself a little bit.
Where should I begin?
In the beginning. No, I'm kidding. What do you do for work?
Well, I'm retired, but I was electronic technician for 2 competitors.
Okay.
Kodak and Xerox.
So you're like kind of behind enemy lines?
I worked at Kodak first and then worked at Xerox.
Okay, at different times.
And I think one engineer was trying to get information, and I signed a confidentiality thing with Kodak, and I says, the information you're asking, you're reading it, you're reading way too much. I said, it's just a marker on this big spool of photoreceptors. And I says, I dislike being pumped for information. And I was friendly, but Kodak, when working at Kodak, we had confidential things, and our field technicians the clients would go to the technician and they say, Xerox is offering to buy out the Kodak contract if they would agree to put a Xerox machine in. So being in the privilege, you could see the competition.
Okay.
So Kodak was really scaring Xerox.
Oh, wow.
And I saw mismanagement, like from Kodak and Xerox, that they lost their shirt. They got into businesses that they weren't familiar with. So they lost millions and millions of dollars. So Kodak eventually just sold off their copier division.
Wow.
And it was like...
Yeah. Do you have any kids?
2 kids.
2 kids? Boy, girl?
Boy and girl.
Okay. Who's the oldest?
My daughter.
Your daughter is?
And
Okay.
I'm a great-grandfather.
Oh, wow.
My great-grandson is 6.
Wow. That's neat.
They say, you're not old enough to be a grandfather, and then they say, I'm not old enough to be a great-grandfather. So
Okay. So do you live in the area here?
I moved here about a year ago,
Okay. Where'd you come from?
upstate New York.
Oh, wow. What made you move? Cold?
COVID.
COVID.
Cold
Cold
and COVID.
and COVID. Okay, so you're one of those people. I'm just kidding. You're one of the ones that moved down.
I started to survive last summer, and I had some corrective surgery, so I had to actually go back to Rochester, New York for the
Okay.
surgery. So mid-August, I went back to New York.
Okay.
And it was a reprieve. It was like, it's so hot down in Florida.
Oh, yeah. Good time to
But
go out.
I lived in Tennessee for 10 years, so I
Okay.
like the hot summers.
Okay.
I can survive.
So did you work in Tennessee, did you work remotely for Kodak and Xerox?
In Tennessee, I was retired.
Okay. So this is all
Yeah,
post-work.
yeah.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, I'm excited that you're starting this journey to experience the whole life. I want to remind you that this is a minimum 12-session program. This means that you will meet with us for 12 sessions over a 12-week period. However, if you miss a week, the program is now 13 weeks long. This allows you to take advantage of all 12 sessions. This is only the minimum. I want you to know that I'm here for you as long as you need me, with no obligation. It is always just the cost of the wellness planner. This session is going to be the longest session because we have a lot to figure out. It will be about 1.5 to 2 hours. The following sessions will be 30 minutes to an hour. Okay?
Good.
So this is when you give them the wellness planner. Say, this is your wellness planner. It's $30. Most people will pay you there at that time. If not, they'll pay you after. This is where you'll write your goals, struggles, and solutions. This is also where you will log all of your progress and keep track of your wellness journey. The first 9 sessions will touch on different health principles, and the last 9 sessions will touch on the different health principles. And the last 3 sessions are to help you maintain your momentum. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Let's get started by turning to page 5. I'll read the first paragraph and then we can alternate reading. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, great. So, your journey to the whole life begins today. How the program works. Have you ever started a diet or workout only to stop after a few days? We know the struggle. This program is unique because instead of focusing on achieving results as soon as possible, we help you to achieve your own wellness goals in small, attainable steps that will ensure lifelong results. It is meant to be tailored to your specific needs and help you achieve health and wholeness in every aspect of your life. No crash diets or demanding workouts required here. Are you ready for the whole life?
Sure.
Great. Your journey begins today. And then if you just want to read, that paragraph right there.
Your wellness vision.
Yes.
Imagine a staircase. At the top are 10 health goals you want to accomplish. These 10 health goals are what you make up your personal wellness vision, your perfect picture of health. Once you achieve those 10 goals, you have reached your wellness vision, the top of the staircase. Some people have small staircases and some larger staircases. The size of yours will indicate how long your journey will be.
Weekly goals. The weekly goals are like single steps on a staircase. They are small, yet they get you where you need to go. Your rate of progress depends on how well you accomplish your weekly goals. They are the make or break factor in this staircase. Accomplish your weekly goals and you are guaranteed to get top-notch results.
Setting goals. Your goals need to be SMART. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and time sensitive. Examples of weekly goals. I will do a cardio workout for 10 minutes, 3 days per week. I will eat 3 to 4 servings, fruits and veggies, 3 days per week.
Another, another important factor is to remember. Another important factor to remember when setting goals is your choice of words. Avoid "I will try," "I would like to," "when I can." These are words are powerful and impact the action you take toward your goals. You should always start your goals with "I will." Let's get started. Do you have any questions before we move on?
No.
No? Okay. All right, so if you would push play on that video, we're going to watch a quick video. Oh, I didn't follow the coach here. If you have questions, we are now going to watch a short video about 8 of the 9 laws of health. If you use these principles, you will reach your optimum potential for health and wellness. So if you'll push play.
Hi, I'm Dr. Randy Bivens. There's a Yiddish blessing, bis 120, which translates, may you live to 120. Scientists at USC recently calculated the theoretical age a human should live to, 120. Also, Roy Wolford, a pioneer in the science of aging, suggested it's possible for the human body to last 120 years. This may be due to our DNA's remarkable ability to repair errors that it develops. Research suggests that this ability breaks down around 120. So why aren't we all living this long?
We could always play it off my computer if we need to. We could push play at the same time.
I can't give me a second.
Okay.
That face is appropriate for what's going on.
Hi, I'm Dr. Randy Bivens. There's a Yiddish blessing, bis 120, which translates, may you live to 120. Scientists at USC recently calculated the theoretical age a human should live to, 120. Also, Roy Wolford, a pioneer in the science of aging, suggested it's possible for the human body to last 120 years.
Type in the number 8 and then laws of health.
It's right there.
If you type in 8 and then the laws of health, it'll bring up a playlist of 10. Yeah, if you search 8 laws of health, it'll be easier. And then there's a playlist of 10 of them. Is that the second one there? Yeah, play that. Should be it. Perfect. I know that sound.
I'm Dr. Randy Bivens. There's a Yiddish blessing, bis 120, which translates, may you live to 120. Scientists at USC recently calculated the theoretical age a human should live to, 120. Also, Roy Wolford, a pioneer in the science of aging, suggests it is possible for the human body to last 120 years. This may be due to our DNA's remarkable ability to repair errors that it develops. Research suggests that this ability breaks down around 120. So why aren't we all living this long? On average, Americans are only living 78 years. Are there changes we can make in order to make those additional 42 years a reality? The answer is that there is not much stopping us from reclaiming those extra years and theoretically adding a third to our lifespans. The solution lies in 8 simple remedies, which we can start pursuing today. They will make us live longer and more satisfying lives than we may have imagined. First things first. Did you know that most of mankind is chronically dehydrated? The problem comes with a simple solution. How much do you weigh? Just take your body weight in pounds and divide it in half. That number is the recommended number of ounces you should drink every day. Perhaps it goes without saying, but if you're exercising, working in hot weather, or have a fever, you'll need to drink more. Most of us live rather stagnant lifestyles, yet science has proven that movement is key to a healthy lifestyle. Walking is a great exercise and most should not have any trouble doing it. Just walk at least 2 miles a day at a speed of at least 3 miles an hour. It doesn't even matter if you break this time into short periods. Do this 6 days a week and you will be on your way to better health. Nutrition has a profound influence upon longevity. Dr. Roy Wolford, who I mentioned earlier, was able to double the lifespan of mice by simply restricting their caloric intake. In the West, we eat far too many calorie-dense foods. These are foods that provide us with too many calories, have fewer nutrients, and less fiber. Because of this, our stomachs fail to signal us that we should stop eating, and we consume too much. By eating more whole foods, raw or simply prepared, we would naturally eat fewer calories. The old saying, early to bed, early to rise, seems to have anticipated the science of good sleep. Getting adequate rest is very important for our health and longevity. While sleeping, many important functions occur that are necessary for good health. Rest allows our bodies the time needed to repair and to restore. Vitamin D has been shown to be very important in maintaining a healthy immune system. Vitamin D is one of those substances that our bodies need to eliminate free radicals, toxins in our modern environment, which are believed to cause many of our ailments, including cancer and autoimmune diseases. Getting plenty of sunshine each day is important in maintaining high levels of vitamin D. It sounds too simple to be true, but getting plenty of fresh air is important for health. Think about it. We can go weeks without food, days without water, but only minutes without air. Remember to take some deep breaths several times a day, preferably outdoors. When we examine the habits of people who live over 100 years of age, we notice an almost universal characteristic: a temperate lifestyle. Namely, they choose good things in moderation, and they avoid things that have negative effects on their health and their quality of life. Balance and good sense are key in all things. Have you ever heard the term blue zones? This is a designation given to a group of people who have had unexpected longevity. A common factor among these people is trust in divine power. This connection between spiritual and physical health has been shown to be significant in adding years to our lives. So, how do we live to 120? First, we start by beating the odds. Right now, the lifespan of the average American is 78 years. However, data suggests that if we were to follow the guidelines I just listed, it would not be unusual to live to 100 and beyond. Just imagine, 60 years could be only the midpoint of our lives. If you're up for it, we'd love for you to join us on this journey to longer, healthier, and more fulfilled lives.
Sets the tone really nicely. Okay, well, let's begin by filling out the following sections on page 8. So we're gonna, if you just turn that page there, and we're gonna have you fill this out here. Okay. So we're gonna work on your wellness vision. Your wellness vision, we'll begin by casting your wellness vision. So your wellness vision is, can you hear, am I coming through the mic? Yeah, okay. Your wellness vision is who you ultimately want to be and what you want to be doing when you reach the top of your staircase. Once you reach these goals, all you will have to do is maintain the habits that have become your lifestyle. So, what does ideal wellness look like to you personally?
Balance.
Okay, balance. So, wait. Let's wait to write things down. So, what is balance? Are you going to be balancing on a balance beam? Or are you going to be walking a tightrope? What do you mean by balance?
I've had varied health crises in the last 4 years.
Okay.
Including cancer, and I've lost a lot of weight. Like I'm currently, I've been cancer-free, but for a year and a half now, I'm still 30 pounds underweight. If I get sick, then I lose 10 pounds, like at a drop of a hat, and I get very discouraged. So, all the different health crises have just challenged my spirituality, my emotions, and so that's why I say balance.
Okay.
I'm not asking God why, but I guess my patience or I'm just losing grip on life, and if I overeat, I don't gain anything. So it's like a dead-end street, and that's not being temperate if you overeat. So,
where do you feel like you're being imbalanced?
I procrastinate. I make situations difficult for myself. You know, like deadlines or things.
So, where do you feel like procrastination is affecting your physical health?
It affects my sleep.
Okay. So tell me about your sleep.
It's erratic. I fall asleep and then I'm awake in 3 or 4 hours, and
Okay, so you go to sleep at night, you sleep for 3 or 4 hours, then you wake up, and then
go to the bathroom, and then I lay back down, and I may or may not. So procrastinating, I've got these things rolling around in my head that I've been ignoring, and so the stress is just snowballing. It's just a big snowball going down the side of the ski slope in Colorado.
So, if I understand you correctly, you go to sleep, you sleep for about 3 or 4 hours, you wake up, and then everything you've been procrastinating is just rolling around in your head and you can't get back to sleep.
So I'll try to meditate on scripture or pray, and sometimes it works, and then I fall asleep. But it's like I need to do more physical activity to tire myself out. So.
Okay. So how much sleep would you like, if you could set a number for yourself, what would be like an ideal amount of sleep that you would like to get?
In wintertime, I'd like to do like 8 hours.
8 hours? Okay. So
I've tried to go to sleep for like around 9 o'clock, like listening to videos by Dr. Nedley. So your sleep before midnight, your circadian rhythms, it's important to get sleep before midnight. So I try that. But
okay. So you would like to sleep 8 hours. That sounds like something that would be part of your vision. So you can write, I will sleep 8 hours each night. Is that what you want to do?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a fine line between telling him what to do and then him saying what he wants to do and you saying that's a goal. You see where I did there? I told him, okay, that's a goal, write it down. Because he already told me what his optimal, what he wants to do. This is for the vision, so this is long term. So there's a little more flexibility here of what we can do as far as, you know, a goal. So if it was like a weekly goal, I wouldn't say, okay, your goal is to sleep 6 hours, just because you said that. Because what if he's only sleeping 3 hours? Adding 3 more hours is a lot. But since this is his wellness vision, there's a line where he already told me, and just my experience, I know that that's what he wants to do, and it's his vision. So I went ahead and took the liberty of doing that. But then you see how is that okay at the end? I just wanted to double check because I don't want to set a goal for him. Okay.
And I'd like to walk 30 minutes each day.
Okay.
Especially if you get your morning light, it resets your circadian rhythm
Right.
to the sunrise.
Are you physically active at all right now?
Not really.
Okay, not really. So you mentioned you want to...
I used to walk every day, so I've gotten away from that
Okay. How long ago was that?
a couple months ago.
Okay. So how much did you walk a couple months ago?
30 minutes or an hour.
Okay. And how was your sleep when you were doing that?
Don't really remember.
You don't remember? It was that good, huh? The reason why I asked...
The stress is just distressing.
Did you have that same stress then?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is because you mentioned I need to be active enough so I'm tired enough to sleep. So if we knew if that was working for you then, you know, if walking 30 minutes to an hour, was that enough to make you conk out at night? Or would you need to do more? Or maybe would you need to do something different besides walking? What do you think? Do you think if you started walking, if your optimal walking to make you go to sleep, you think that's 30 minutes? Or do you think it would need to be more?
I think it should be more.
More? What do you think that number is? And something you can tolerate too. You don't want to, you know, have you passing out at the wheel because you just went for a 3-hour walk.
I think I need to change my schedule so that I am contributing to other people's lives. I live in subsidized housing, and we're friendly, so it's like a community. So that's healing. So, but with the new year and new health plans, I have silver sneakers, so I'd really like to go to the gym and work out, maybe with weights.
Okay.
And if it's raining, then I could walk, you know, like an indoor track.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you're thinking you would do some weight training and some walking, kind of mix it up a little bit?
yes.
Okay. How many days a week do you think would be best for you?
If I did weight training 3 days a week,
Okay. How long?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? Okay. And then is that...
I read a book years ago, and it said that it's really counterproductive to do weight training for 2-3 hours per session.
Yeah.
That if you did high intensity for 30 minutes, like 3 times a week, that would be more than enough.
So what about the other days of the week?
I would just continue doing my walking.
You're walking. Okay. So you would walk...
And I've noticed in hot climates like Tennessee and Florida that if I kept up my walking routine, that I could tolerate heat much easier, and people would be complaining about the heat, and I'd say, oh, I'm comfortable. So it seemed like my cardiopulmonary system was so much more efficient
Right.
that I could tolerate the heat, and it didn't faze me.
So you mentioned also that you wanted to gain weight. You said 30 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay. How is that going to play in with all the exercise? What's your primary goal? Do you want to gain the weight first? Or do you want to, I mean, if you're lifting weights, you're going to gain some muscle, but I don't think you're going to gain 30 pounds of muscle.
I need to, or I want to not fixate. I don't weigh myself every day because it can fluctuate 2 pounds, and it's like, oh, and then I get discouraged. But so maybe weigh myself a couple times per week, but maybe I should just trust God that I'm in His hands, and I think it's lack of peace and the stress. Just we live in troubling times, so I keep going back to 1 John 4:18 that perfect love casts out fear. We live in a very fearful time.
Right.
So the corollary to that is, well, if I'm fearful, then I'm really not trusting God. So,
yeah. So let's write down what your exercise goal is, and then write down what your ideal weight is. You're writing I will, right?
I will walk
Good job.
30 minutes.
I'm a stickler on that, and you should be too. Make sure they're writing that I will. And if they start writing and they didn't write I will, either have them squeeze it in or cross it out. It needs to be I will. Be very...
I will walk 30
And tell them,
minutes.
just tell them I'm a stickler on that. I always tell people that.
I will walk 30 minutes each day, 6 times per week. So start weight training. And that may be a problem because I have...
So you're going to do weight training 3 days a week, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, start
Yeah.
weight training 3 times per week. That may be difficult because I have a hernia and it's been giving me problems, so...
Okay. Well, remember, that's
But I
your...
can do bench presses and I can do leg raises and...
So remember, that's your finish line. So you're not going to start doing that this week. So you could start, doing it 1 day a week and then work up however you feel comfortable.
My weight goal would be gain 30 pounds.
So what's your weight now?
130.
130. So you would write, I will weigh 160 pounds. Now, talk to me about your stress. What's stressing you out so much? What are you putting off so much that when you wake up at night you can't sleep? If you feel comfortable talking about that.
I feel guilt, poor choices that I've made, and my grown children are back in New York, and I feel kind of estranged from my son. I think that he might be in an abusive marriage. This is his second marriage, but my children realize that I don't do well with the cold and dampness in New York, so they know I'm less depressed with sunshine and warmth. So I feel we may have some more freedoms in Florida than compared to New York State. So, but I know God has forgiven me for my failures, not raising my kids the way I should have, but I need to forgive myself, and like, what is it, Peter, that says to cast your burden upon the Lord?
Mm-hmm. So how are you going to do that?
Walk in God's grace and forgiveness. So I will walk in God's grace and forgiveness for past mistakes.
Okay. Is that what's keeping you up at night? Or is it more the grandkids and your son's relationship? And
it's more of the procrastination, I guess it's inactivity and the procrastination. It's just crippling, and it's like.
So what are you procrastinating? I'm not clear on what that is.
Organizing my apartment, getting rid of junk that I haven't used in
Okay.
decades. So.
Okay, so you want to have your apartment organized.
Neater, yeah.
Okay. So what would that look like? You would just, how would you write that down?
I will get rid of clutter.
So we want to paint that picture of what it's going to look like when it's done. So once all that clutter's out, how would you describe your house then?
To be able to have friends over, to socialize and not be embarrassed.
Okay. So my house will be clean enough to have company.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sound like what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm running out of room.
That's all right. You can always come back and add more too. I think we got a pretty good start there. So go ahead and write that down. Just talking while you're writing. We'll just move on for time's sake.
Okay.
You see how much we're getting to know about him? Really personal stuff, right? And we could really just keep going, digging deeper. I mean, there's a lot of questions I want to ask, but we don't have time. This is great. I love it.
And I'm relaxed.
You are?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, obstacles. So let's look at each one of these things in your vision and figure out what's keeping Rich from achieving them. Excuse my posture. I'm going to be relaxed too. Okay, so what's that first one there?
I would sleep 8 hours each night.
Okay, so your obstacle.
We're doing review.
What's that?
We're doing review.
We're doing the obstacles now, but for each obstacle, we're going to figure out what's the obstacle for each thing. So what's keeping you from sleeping 8 hours a night? You mentioned procrastination. What else?
Inactivity.
Inactivity. Okay.
Just
Do you procrastinate to exercise?
so the sleeplessness is severe, so I'm motivated to get out and to enjoy the sunshine and fresh air.
So what's been keeping you from doing that now? Or in the past week or in the past
Well, there's a
month?
big inspection from HUD, and so I guess you have a lot of sentimental things that you hang on to, so
Is Mike die? Oh, okay.
is this still working?
Here you go.
I guess it's negative self-talk. It's just like, well, you've screwed up so many times. So I've lost faith in my own ability.
So that keeps you from getting out and exercising?
Maybe it's fear of failure. It's like, well, if you don't do anything, you're going to fail anyway. So if you don't try, then you're it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So so I'm kind of, I've lived in Florida for about a year, but I went back for an operation in New York in August. But so I got a different housing situation. So that's been about 2.5 months. So I think it's just adjusting to my new environment, and I get along with pretty much everybody. So I feel it's a sense of community, so I feel it's a safe. Some people you can kind of read that they're not safe to talk to anything, rather than, oh yeah, I'm fine. So,
Yeah.
but
So let's get back to that procrastination. So you're not sleeping because you're procrastinating. Are you procrastinating on the walking? I wasn't too clear on that.
no, not really.
Not really. You're just not doing it.
Well, this big inspection this next Tuesday, so I'm really,
Okay.
so I'm on a deadline.
Okay.
So,
So we can write down procrastination. And then you mentioned being physically active. You feel like that's an obstacle as well for your sleep
inactivity,
and activity.
being inactive.
And then this big inspection is what's keeping you from being physically active. Were you physically active before you found out about this inspection?
Yes.
Yeah.
what was I going to say?
Train car run away.
Another obstacle to sleep, I believe, is the fear of recurring cancer.
Okay.
Very briefly, I opted not to have chemo, and I opted not to have radiation. So I did surgery as well as alternate therapies. So I've been cancer-free for about a year and a half.
Great.
So I need to trust God that. So there's some things that I will not do, like I cannot overdo sugar, because 2 days later I'm like bummed out. It's almost like a binge, and I don't like wasting 2 days and not having energy. So, but the fear of cancer is just. I think it's a thing of the past, so I need to let go of the fear.
But you feel like that's keeping you up at night as well?
Yeah.
Okay. You can write that down. That's a legitimate fear. But doing these laws of health is it's gonna be your ticket. It's gonna really help you prevent it from coming back. So
there's a low power FM station that broadcasts religious programming. So I hear about the 8 laws of health.
Oh, great.
And other things. So while I'm frantically working in my apartment, I have the radio on, and that's an encouragement. So.
Okay. And what was your last thing on the vision there?
Walk 30 minutes each day, and also start weight training. Check into the silver sneakers, and I have a friend that I can be a visitor at this local gym.
Okay. So not having a membership somewhere is kind of an obstacle for you right now?
Well, I've got, it's provided in my insurance, so I don't have to pay it out of pocket.
Okay. So you just need to go sign up somewhere?
Yeah, I need to call the insurance company and say, how do I do this? So.
Okay. So it kind of sounds like not having a place you can go work out is an obstacle, and then a strategy to overcome that obstacle would be to just get a hold of your insurance company and find a place and get a hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe an obstacle.
Or talk to the management of the gym.
Right, because you don't have weights either, right?
No, I don't.
So yeah, so an obstacle for lifting weights would be needing weights.
Equipment.
Yeah. So an obstacle could be there, not having equipment.
Well, not joining, I guess.
Okay. However you want to write it, it's fine, yeah.
Not joining the gym. That's fine.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I brought 2 of them up here.
No.
I'm glad you caught that. All right. I'll grab another one while you write that down. I'll grab another one. Kind of a camel today. Brain power, right? Okay. So let's look at some strategies for these obstacles here. So we kind of just mentioned one, getting hold of your insurance company, finding out the Silver Sneakers gyms. Okay. So let's see here. I'll go ahead and read this. Now that we know what your obstacles are, we can figure out some strategies to overcome them. What are some new
blood
methods
pressure,
or habits
reducing
that will help you overcome
cholesterol,
your
or
obstacles?
stopping smoking. It is virtually free, and there are no side effects in healthy people. This product, if taken in recommended amounts, will cure or significantly reduce the incidence of many diseases.
I've heard the strategy of making a list the night before of what you want to accomplish the next day. So that might be a step in the right direction.
Okay.
And like the SMART, something that's achievable, that's specific and
Okay.
make a list. Each night.
These
What I would like to accomplish the next day.
include kidneys,
We're going to have to breeze
Stones,
through this
golf.
a little faster here.
Okay.
So we'll just move on to the next thing here. Okay. So let's move on to the My Motivators section. What will motivate you to stay on track? Is it longevity with your family and friends, losing a few pant sizes or gaining a few pant sizes, fighting disease, or something else?
Feeling like I'm alive rather than just existing.
Okay.
So that's kind of hard to pin down.
Just like
Letting go of depression.
So let's think about things that are valuable to you in your life. So like you mentioned your grandkids, your great grandkids, like why do you want to be healthier? Why do you want to start working out? Why do you want to sleep better? Why do you not want to procrastinate anymore? Is it because you want to just have peace of mind? Is it because you don't want to procrastinate just because you want to sleep? Or you want those negative feelings out of your life? You don't want to get cancer anymore? That sounds like a big motivator.
Yes, the cancer, be free of that fear, but also be a more effective witness for God's transforming grace.
Okay. You write that down. Okay, great. In a real session, I would kind of spend more time, but we've got to get moving here.
Okay.
So, what about support system? Who do you have to support you? You go to you don't go to a gym. We're going to go to a gym, like church or family, friends. Who supports you?
Church.
Okay. You're an individual person in the church, or just the church as a whole?
I have a good friend that I give a ride to church, and I volunteer through different things at church.
Okay.
I believe we need social contact
For sure.
to be healthy, so
Yeah. All right, well, you can write down your church. If you want to write down that friend's name, you can do that too. So we're going to push play on our DVD or laptop and watch that next video on water. And we're going to stop it when it finishes.
I'm Dr. Randy Bivens. Today, I'm going to tell you about a product that will reduce your risk of heart attack. It is at least as effective as maintaining an ideal body weight, reducing high blood pressure, reducing cholesterol, or stopping smoking. It is virtually free, and there are no side effects in healthy people. This product, if taken in recommended amounts, will cure or significantly reduce the incidence of many diseases. These include kidney stones, gallbladder disease, constipation, urinary tract infections, high blood pressure, glaucoma, and venous blood clots. Although not yet proven scientifically, this product is thought to be important in reducing or improving most diseases known to man. On top of that, there are no adverse effects in healthy people. In fact, overall health and well-being are improved. Have you figured out what we're talking about? 2 hydrogen atoms bound to 1 oxygen atom forming H2O, or water. A study published in the American Journal of Epidemiology showed that those who drank more than 5 glasses of water per day had significantly less death from coronary heart disease compared to those who drank less than 2 glasses per day. Dr. Chan, the principal investigator, wrote, basically, not drinking enough water can be as harmful to your heart as smoking. Drinking over 5 glasses of water per day will cut the risk of coronary heart disease in half. This has an equal or greater effect than any other well-known preventive measure. The researchers also noted that if people drank anything other than pure water, their risk for coronary heart disease actually increased. This includes tea, coffee, soda, and even fruit juices. Dr. Chan noted, people need to be made aware that there is a difference, at least for heart health, whether they get their fluids from plain water or from sodas. Perhaps you're wondering, how is it that something as simple as drinking water has such a substantial effect on our coronary health? Well, it has been shown that dehydration elevates blood stickiness and increases blood elements that promote clotting. When elevated, these are risk factors for coronary heart disease. So, how much water should you drink? Here's a good rule of thumb. Take your body weight in pounds and divide it in half. That number is the recommended number of ounces you should drink every day. Naturally, your need for water increases with exercise, warmer temperatures, and fever. When dealing with these situations, use your common sense and make sure you drink enough. It is helpful to drink at least 1 glass of water as soon as you wake up in the morning, as well as a glass of water at bedtime. This has been shown to significantly reduce your heart attack risk for that night. Your body is 75% water and your brain is 85% water. Water is more than a simple solvent. It is important in many body functions. With all of these benefits, why don't we hear more about water? Could it be because you cannot patent water? There's no profit in its research or its promotion. As you can see, in our goal to live longer, better, healthier lives, we need to develop the habit of drinking generous amounts of water in conjunction with reducing or eliminating the consumption of tea, coffee, soda, and fruit drinks. We just need plain pure water. Because of the risk of BPA and plastics, it's best to avoid most bottled water. It's a good idea to filter tap water. This can be effective in most situations with a good charcoal filter. This will also save you money in the long run. For those of us with well water, it's a good idea to have your water tested to make sure that it does not contain toxins such as heavy metals. So, in our goal to live 120 years of age, drinking plenty of water is definitely one of the most important habits that we can develop.
Great. So, if you'll turn to page 11, we're going to We're just going to skip to these two sections here. So let's just answer those two questions there in the middle. So how are your current water drinking habits affecting your health?
I know it's important to drink extra water. I just get sidetracked. So
how is that affecting your health?
I don't think I noticed any difference. I've always tried to drink extra water for years. So.
Okay. How much water do you drink?
Probably half a gallon. I get water gallon refills at the store, and it usually lasts me a couple days, so I'd say half a gallon.
Okay. You're 130 pounds?
Yeah.
That's about right. Okay. Oh, good. All right. So if you're already making that goal, then the next question is kind of null anyways.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you'll turn to page 31, we're going to set up a water goal for this week. So if people are, I'm not saying this is the case with you, but a lot of times people think they're drinking more water than they actually are. So if they say like, oh, I'm already meeting my goal, then I'll suggest, well, why don't you, for this week, just track how much you're actually drinking. And then that helps them see. And they'll be like, I'm not drinking as much water as I thought I was. Or maybe they're drinking more. Maybe they actually are. So that's something I like to do. Okay. So you're drinking about half a gallon. Would you like to add any more to that?
I think I'd like to track it and see how much I actually drink.
Okay. And then once you start doing the physical activity, you'll definitely want to add more water to that. But okay. So I will
measure.
I will track or measure my progress for this week. Okay. So that's all for today. I'm so excited that you are on your way to experience the whole life. All you need to work on this week is tracking your water and drinking the water. Next week we're going to start walking together, so be sure to wear some shoes that you're comfortable walking in. Same time next week, good? Okay. Well, Rich, I really appreciate you helping us out today.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be praying for you. All right, so then once you leave the house and you do the post-session checklist, and that just reminds you to pray, write down any important dates or things like that for them. Okay. Any questions? I don't want to spend too much time on questions because we got to get you guys doing some practical stuff. Any questions? Not I wasn't trying to shoot you down. Not. Please ask. I guess we need a microphone.
I have a question.
Yes.
I know this one is if we go, I would like to know how you can offer the plan, and I don't know if you covered it this morning, or if, let's say, I went to a store, sometimes women's, when we are shopping, we are talking with someone else, and they say, oh, blah, blah, blah. So that will be a good opportunity to, offer that I am a health coach. How you introduce the program?
Just the way you did. So, like I was sharing this morning, if you notice someone is, maybe the person's overweight and you see they're buying a bunch of healthy things, say, oh, I see you're eating healthy. How's that going? What's making you do it? Then you can just say, I'm doing this health partnering thing where we help people in the community. You only have to pay for the book. If you want some help, I'd be happy to do that with you. Just as simple as that. I mean, the simpler you keep it, the better it's going to be. And just be natural. Just say it how you would say it, so it's not like, oh, she's just quoting a script at me. We memorize this phrase to get people to do coaching, but just however you would say it.
Okay.
Yeah. The key is just to be real and natural. That's what people want. They don't want to feel like, if you come across like a salesperson, then you're going to say it's only $30 for the book, but you're coming at me like a salesperson. I'm sure there's a catch. So just be as completely natural as possible and just say, hey, I just started this new thing, or I've been doing this for a few years and I really help people. I'd be happy to help you. All you got to do is pay for the book, and I promise there's no other charges. And just see how it goes. Yeah. Very, very simple.
This morning you said that we should be careful not to call ourselves life coaches or health coaches, that we need to say we're
health partners.
Health partners.
Right. So we're just trying to differentiate. A health coach, you've gone through, you've paid a lot of money for a certification, and we're not getting that here. We're just training on a lay people level. Everything you'll be doing is what a health coach does. Obviously, with just less training and things like that, but we're just trying to just keep that boundary. Because if we start saying we're coaches and we're not certified, then the coaches are going to get upset, and then there's going to be a whole shenanigans that we don't want. Yeah.
I understand, it sounds easy, and I wish that a person will open the door for me, but it was me that someone approached me and asked me that, I will have more questions. I would say, what do you mean, what do you do? More, you help partners, how that work? Or, do I need to go to a place? Because, when I say no, I will go to your house, people, I will get scared that a strange come to my house. So I just wondering, in case that they ask more questions, how we will approach to sounds,
Right. So the best way to answer questions that pertain to the program and things like that is to, and this is what, when we pair off, or after we pair off, we're going to talk about that later, how the church here is going to begin this ministry. So essentially, I'll kind of jump the gun here. We're gonna coach. You guys are gonna coach each other first. So you're going to pair up with someone here, and you're going to actually coach them through it. That way, you're being coached, and you're going to coach them. So you're going to know what it's like to be coached, and you're going to know what it's like to coach the whole program. So you'll have experience. You'll have 12 weeks of experience doing the coaching. So you'll be able to answer any question. You'll know how long the sessions are. You'll know what you're going to be doing. You'll have experience on what the struggles are. As far as going to people's home, I don't recommend for a man to ask a lady if he can do health coaching. Maybe he says, I have a lady friend that does health coaching. I can give you her number if you're interested, or something like that. If you walk up to a lady in the grocery store, she's not going to think you're a thief that's going to come rob her house. And you might have people that are paranoid. And I've done Bible studies and coached people at like Burger King or something, or a library, or in the park, something neutral that's public that they're comfortable with. So, always try and get into the house, because it's just better to be in their house. But if, you can say, I can come to your house, it's no problem, that's what I normally do with people, or if you're not comfortable with that, we can meet at the park or the library or something, and meet somewhere that you're comfortable with. And just kind of do it like that. And if you're not trying to sell them on something, you're being very natural, it's just going to kind of fall in. And the Holy Spirit's going to be there too. So he's going to do things that we never thought were possible as well. Okay, we're going to, if you need to use the restroom or anything, let's do that. We're going to shift into the other room now where there's tables, so you guys can sit at tables and coach each other. And we're going to pair up. I have some ground rules for that. No spouses. You know why? Because, let's be honest, spouses don't listen to each other. And you already know too much about each other. So